All right, so let's get this meeting started.
Hang on 1 second, Krista.
Oh,
We're not live yet. It just takes a minute. Here you go.
perfect. So bring the meeting for the Recreational Committee to order at 5 p.m. So the first thing on our agenda is, do we have any, we'll do a disclosure of pecuniary interest. So is there anyone who feels they have a conflict of interest? Seeing none, we'll move forward to the approval of the agenda. Could I have a motion, please, to approve the agenda? Okay,
I'll motion to approve the agenda.
Moved by Kim, seconded by Kelly. Perfect, thank you. All in favor?
Sorry.
That's okay. I think there's only 3 of us today, so it's a small pool to pick from. You ladies are going to be busy. All right, so moving forward now, we have a delegation and a presentation from Monteith Brown Planning and Consultancy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Dennis Kwan, and I am the Senior Planner with Monteith Brown Planning Consultants. And I will just share my screen. We have a short presentation tonight. Great. Can everyone see the screen there? Perfect. And again, my name is Dennis Kwan. I'm a Senior Planner with Monteith Brown Planning Consultants. And we are the consulting firm that was hired by the municipality to prepare the Facilities and Recreation Master Plan for Southwest Middlesex. And joining me tonight on the presentation is Todd Brown. He's the principal planner of our firm. So why are you here tonight? There's 2 reasons why we're here. The municipality is preparing the Facilities and Recreation Master Plan, and as an advisory committee, you likely, you're a committee of council, and you likely have some interest in how residents spend their leisure time. So we want to get your input and ideas and opportunities on ways that Southwest Middlesex can improve parks, recreation, and culture opportunities. The second reason why we're here tonight is also to update the group on where we're at in the master planning process, as well as what the next steps are. So the purpose of the master plan is to establish strategies to meet the needs of parks, recreation, and culture opportunities in Southwest Middlesex for the next 10 years. In terms of the scope, the master plan is a high-level guiding document that will look at everything from recreation and culture facilities such as the arena or Glencoe Station, as well as recreation programs, as well as recreation and culture programs, parks and trails and open spaces, as well as service delivery policies and practices. We also recognize that the municipality doesn't do everything on their own. There's also a number of dedicated community organizations that play a strong role in delivering programs and services. So that will also be a key consideration for the master plan as it's developed. In terms of where we are now, we're just coming to a close on the second phase of the master plan. Over the past couple of weeks, we've held a number of sessions to engage the community. This included holding a virtual information session on the municipality's website, as well as we conducted a community survey, which we received over 230 responses. We also held 2 stakeholder focus groups, as well as interviews with each member of council and key staff, as well as a workshop with frontline staff. So tonight's session is with the advisory committee, and this will be the last piece of the puzzle for this particular phase. And this coming Wednesday, we'll also be making a presentation to council where we will be highlighting the key themes that we heard through the consultation process. And in terms of the next phase is where we'll be developing the draft master plan. And that will take place over the next couple of weeks before we come back to council with the draft plan. And then at that point, we will be going back out to the public to get their feedback before the master plan is approved. So the consultation process, we posed a number of questions to stakeholders, staff, and council. So for those of you who have participated in the past already, these questions will look familiar. But for the committee members who weren't involved previously, as well as new staff, these questions may be new to you as well. So we also would appreciate any input that you have to give us tonight. So the first question that we asked, we wanted to know what are people most proud of when it comes to parks, recreation, and culture in Southwest Middlesex? And this is a question that we always love to hear people speak about the positive attributes in Southwest Middlesex, and it really helps set the stage for what people were most proud of when it comes to parks, recreation, and culture opportunities. And that segued into what trends, pressures, and changes that stakeholders, staff, and council saw within the parks, recreation, culture system. And more importantly, we're interested to know from everyone's perspective of how the municipality can respond to meeting these needs of residents. And of course, the COVID pandemic has really been a top of mind issue for a lot of people. And from our research that we've done in the past, we found that the pandemic has really impacted physical activities when it comes to parks, recreation, culture services. It has clearly influenced how we participate in activities. And so we're interested to know what, from the perspectives of everyone that we engage, what behaviors do they feel we're going to be staying after the pandemic, and then as well as how the municipality could respond to changing needs. Also, we asked everyone what can be improved from a personal or municipal standpoint to make the delivery of parks, recreation, and culture facilities, programs, and services more effective and efficient. And so we understand that the municipality is primarily a provider of facilities in the community, and groups were largely responsible for providing programs and services. And while the municipality is starting to provide some programs, we're interested to see going forward what the roles and responsibilities of each party would be going forward. And in evaluating the municipality's user fee philosophy, we are interested to know what the key considerations should be when developing user fees. For example, it's always important to consider the time of use compared to daytime versus evening use, as well as the weekend, as well as the type of user group in the community, as well as potentials for non-resident fees. And the last question that we posed was, what should the main priorities be over the next 10 years? And this includes anything from recreation and culture facilities, as well as programs, parks, trails, and open spaces, as well as service delivery policies and practices. So in terms of the next steps, as I mentioned earlier, on Wednesday, we'll be making a presentation of our key findings to council. And after that, we will be developing the master plan over the next couple of weeks. And we'll be holding an additional public feedback session once that draft master plan is completed. And we'll be taking feedback from the public before the plan is finalized. And so once the plan is finalized, we will be coming back to council to seek an adoption of the document. So that is a summary of this consultation that we've taken to date, as well as the discussion points that we posed to stakeholders, staff, and the council. So at this point, I'd like to turn it back over to the chair. So at this point, we know that a number of staff and stakeholders, many of you have participated in a consultation process. So we'd like to open it up to the group to see if there are any additional feedback or input, things we want to consider in the master plan. Anything new, any new developments perhaps, especially from the committee members who haven't had a chance to participate, as well as the new staff member to the team. If there's any additional input for the master plan, we would appreciate any comments.
So I'll open the floor up, and I'd love to hear from Kelly and Kim initially if they have anything they'd like to add, specifically those 6 questions that were highlighted in the presentation. Was there anything that you found was something we need to touch on. I know that you were prepared, I think most of you were prepared to bring up issues tonight, or not issues, but opportunities. So I'll go ahead, Kim.
So I did participate in one of the stakeholder groups, so I don't have a pile to add. I said my 2 cents there. The only thing I would say that I perhaps didn't mention there, but as I, discussed with others after that, something that came up a couple of times was the awareness of how many facilities we're actually talking about, like how many municipal buildings that are actually currently part of the facilities and being maintained. I would suggest maybe significantly higher than necessary based on sort of the percentage of use at those different buildings and facilities.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly, was there anything you wanted to add?
I don't think I have anything to add at this time.
I will add, I had, sorry, go ahead, Mayor Mayhew.
Thank you very much, Chair Cowell. First of all, I'd like Todd, thank you very much for joining us, Todd Brown, and we're certainly delighted with the person presenting this, Dennis Kwan. We're glad to have you. I think I'll address the question to both individuals. You may each have something to contribute to that. Very often in such a study as this, you hear the word hub, a community hub. And I know that we have some very unusual circumstances with some of our recreational facilities, and I'm referring to the arena and the swimming pool are located on an assembly of land that is very much owned by the Glencoe Agricultural Society. And many communities, that's like the meeting place of the community. Perhaps what our train station is to the downtown or a symbol of Southwest Middlesex, it's a hub. Can you expand on that word hub? And have you addressed that in your report, or do you hope to achieve an adjective like that, that it is a community or a noun like that, a community hub?
Yeah, I think certainly in the report that we're putting together right now for council, which really pulls together all of the consultation, we're really putting back to council what we've heard through the consultation. But what I can say is through our research on the phase 1 and where we're headed with this plan is to recognize that community hubs are an important aspect within any community, that there needs to be one or more focal points where people can gather and feel like they're part of the community. Often community hubs are a multitude of facilities put in one location and often combined or located under one roof. In your case, that's not necessarily the case. I mean, you can do many things in the arena. It can be a place where you skate and where other people maybe socialize and so forth. The pool, the same thing, but recognizing that you have a site with many different features, both indoor and outdoor, I think we can recognize that as having essentially operating like a community hub, but there's room to build on that and create additional opportunity with your community fair and creating linkages within that site to bolster the entire site as an opportunity to create a community focal point or community hub within the fairgrounds land, including the arena, including the pool, skateboard area, sports fields, and so forth.
And Krista, if I could just have one follow-up, because of that scenario I mentioned about the Glencoe Agricultural Society being the center of the donut, so to speak, with the pool, Project 2000, and the arena. I think they can't be left out in dialogue, the Glencoe Agricultural Society. Many of those arrangements, I swear to goodness, were made on a handshake in the old days. and I'd hate to find paper on it, but there was great cooperation with Glencoe and Mosen and Eckford at the time, but they are a partner in this, and I regret my affiliation with them is not intensive enough that I know what the feeling is among them, but I hope that they're being recognized as being a very significant part of the puzzle.
I will just add, in an effort to keep this meeting moving along quickly, as many of us have already had an opportunity to speak, it actually is addressed in the report that we received already, and that is coming to council on Wednesday, that the consultant has reached out and already had an encounter with the Agricultural Society, is my understanding. And they've already had a consultation, much like the rest of us have. So I appreciate your comments, Mayor Mayhew. We'll move along now. I had one additional comment I wanted to add that had come up in the last 2 weeks regarding summer programming. And I hope that perhaps we will get to speak with our new individual, Miss Parker, about summer programming and specifically summer camps. But I did have a couple of individuals reach out to me with concern about the fact that we don't have any type of summer camp program. And I know it's been said multiple times, and the YMCA is currently precarious because of COVID. So this is a hole that's in our community as a result of COVID. And I know it might not be filled this summer, but it's something we need to have on our radar. So moving forward, do I have any other questions for Monteith Brown?
Could I just add, just with respect to what you just said, is just simply to say that we agree that there needs to be sort of a balance between non-municipal and municipal programming, and where there's gaps, we would love the opportunity to sit down with Ms. Parker now that she's joined your organization, just to get her direct input as well and her initial thoughts. So perhaps you know, in the next week or two, we could get the benefit of that. So we hope to do so.
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right, well, I very much thank the two of you for coming to our meeting today. And now that we're done that, I think we can move on to approving the minutes from the previous meeting. I need a mover and a seconder for that, please.
All right, move that.
Thank you, Kelly, for moving that. Kim or Mr. Mayhew. There you go. And a seconder. Thank you. All approved? All approved? Perfect. Do we have any business arising from the minutes? Thank you. So next we will move on to verbal updates from our staff. And I think that Ms. Parker is up first.
So hi everyone, I'm Ashley. I kind of was introduced a little bit there, but I'm the new recreation coordinator, and I just started this last week on Monday. So I'm just kind of learning the ropes, kind of seeing what programs currently exist in the municipality. So my role is really going to be to enhance current programming and add new programming as well in various areas. So more arts and culture programs, more fitness programs. She's kind of looking at what currently is out there, what other municipalities are doing as well that are similar to ours. And currently a big thing we're doing is working on the pool early registration. So we're just kind of figuring out the date for that, as we don't know kind of how COVID restrictions and, you know, if the lockdown is going to get extended and that sort of thing. So that's currently our main focus right now, is planning that and planning the aquatic program schedule as well, and just kind of helping the aquatic staff get going as well, and promote that through our social media channels. That's my main update, I think. Is there anything else you'd like me to talk further on? No? Okay.
All right, so next we have a summer programming update. Is that through Mr. Storms or Mr. Yardley? Or did we just get it?
Well, no, I think Alex can give an overview of the current operational situation we have, and staffing and scheduling and what everybody's doing out there.
Yeah, for sure. So the operations department, we've been busy every day, and following our motto of moving forward every day in terms of trying to make our spaces as good as they can be. So even though right now we're limited as to what we can do, like the pandemic does dictate what we are able to do and what we're not able to do. We're trying to make every preparation in the background to make sure that our sports fields are in tip-top shape, that our pool is going to open by a targeting date, that all of our facilities still are getting the ongoing preventative maintenance. We've just brought on a new group of staff, so we've been busy with onboarding and training. And furthermore to that, in regards to aquatics, it's been a particularly tough year for our lifeguard staff to renew or fulfill their annual recertification. So it's not for a lack of trying have they not been able to do this. It's just a matter that the pandemic has not allowed for courses to occur. So we're working with the aquatic staff to see if we can facilitate a small group at our facility once we do get our pool up and running and chlorinated and balanced and everything's good to go there. So lots of moving parts right now, but we're trying to do everything we can on a day-to-day basis to make sure that when we get the green light to move forward with some sort of programming or recreation, that on our end operationally we're ready to quickly turn things around and allow for that to happen.
That sounds excellent. It's something that many different industries are facing. We're at the Yes, anyways, moving forward. I think that we have an update coming from our Director of Operations, Mr. Storms.
Oh, thank you, Chair Cowell. I just would sort of piggyback a little bit of what Alex has already talked about. I think that that's been very challenging for Alex and the lifeguards itself. We're not getting a whole lot of help from the society that typically looks after and provides instructors for this type of training. We have tried to piggyback other municipalities that are offering their own training, but of course, most of those are already filled up. So we hope that we do have a solution to that now, which, we would be bringing in our own instructor into Glencoe and getting our lifeguards certified. So it is important, as Alex has said, and it's a big part of the conversations to go on with us on a daily basis to have the rec program set up to respond, because we just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I'm guessing today we're going to be locked down until the 2nd of June. That's what we're hearing. But we have to be ready to go. It's not acceptable to, even to open our splash pad, we got to open our pool. So these are the things that face the recreation department, and they've been very progressive in their approach, which I really appreciate. And from Alex through Ashley to Christy and down through the whole group, they have a commitment to work together and to deliver this program in a high standard to the people in the municipality. So that's just my first comment to kind of start things off. I'm very happy and glad today that Dennis and Todd made it to this meeting, and certainly have been working with them on the consultation process. I typically try to stay out of that as much as possible and advise our staff to stay out of that as much as possible so that we get a real true opinion from people and we're not dominating meetings, etc. So I think they've done an excellent job in bringing that information together. And this is never it's always a process that kind of unfolds, and certainly the next part of this being the draft master plan is extremely important. And it will come out in draft form, but I will sort of remind the group that people will still have the opportunity to make comments after that comes out, and then it will be redone. And then the reporting times in council are there for a reason, so that we we finalize input and then they come forward with the recommendation itself. So kind of all I have to say, other than I can't really speak too much with regards to the renovation project at the arena, but certainly that's it kind of mimicking what the mayor has said, is it does look good moving forward, but we just don't know for sure, and certainly can't put out any information with regards to that project at this point. So I don't know if anybody's got any questions, but certainly myself or Alex is available to answer questions. We are moving forward. There's no doubt. You will see change. Change is happening every day in this department. Sometimes change takes us down a better road, makes us more efficient. And, big goal of what we're trying to do is to not do like they did everything in the past, but to save money, and if we can, and to be more efficient. And, I'm seeing that happen on a daily basis, and certainly the new structure that we have in place, the restructuring, the cooperation between departments, the ability to respond to residents when they call immediately. These are all things that are happening now that, I expect this with this increased service level, both in recreation and public works. And I see it working every day. So from the way I look at it, it's only going to get better moving forward. Are we perfect? No, we're not. But at the same time, we like to hear from people when we're not, and we'll correct that and move forward. So generally, that's where I'm coming from every day. And I do appreciate the staff and the hard work that they're putting into this program, because it is going to be something that moves very quickly here in the next bit.
So it looks like I have two questions. So I will grab Kim, and then I will grab Alex after, Mr. Yardley after.
I'm just curious, for any of the groups, like the stakeholder groups that didn't show up for the stakeholder Zoom meetings or didn't send any of their input, did anyone reach out to them after that to be sure that it wasn't an oversight, that they didn't come or that they didn't get the information?
Well, I'd kind of defer that one to Christy and Alex. They went through the process of notification of everybody. I know that they didn't get complete participation from everybody.
I'm only asking now because of sort of the schmozzle that sounds to be going on with Strathroy Caradoc, and a lot of complaining that focus groups and stakeholders weren't consulted before this new Stadia recreation plan came out, which I know is different and not the same thing, but so that I'm on a skating board over that way. So as we're listening to the very loud complaining that nobody got their input, I was just hoping that when this comes out, not everyone's going to be happy, that there's sort of backup documentation to say, yes, these people were invited. Yes, they were reached out to a second time. Should they have chose not to participate, it was, it's on them.
Yeah. So I would have a brief. Yeah, hold on for a minute. I would have a brief comment about that, and that the people that I've seen complaining with regards to Strathroy on the news and such have been like the president of the Mount Bridges Bulldogs, which is a junior C hockey team that plays out of that building. So I find it hard that nobody has ever contacted them with regards to the creation of that master plan. I would reiterate that this wouldn't be the last time that people get the opportunity to make comments with regards to the rest of this process. So if we can do something, I look to Dennis and Todd because of their expertise in working with this to, is there a way that we can kind of, make a U-turn here at the next stage of public input to make sure that we get, as many of those groups involved in this process as possible? That would be my question to them, but I think Alex had something to say there too. So.
Yeah, for sure. So our process in terms of reaching out to our stakeholder groups, we actually put out a call for interest to 33 groups within the community. And we compiled this data from pre-existing data that did exist. I know that we put a lot of hard work into tracking down accurate and up-to-date contact information to get directly to the source of the people who spearhead some of these groups. So I do know that we put 33 calls for interest out. We also put up advertising within the community. We posted on social media. So it was really important to us that we had good input from our stakeholders. I mean, everybody plays a big role in coming together and kind of paving the path that we want to move forward on as a recreation department. And definitely one of the things personally, where I come from is that, like, I want to have the public outreach and I want to know what the residents and what the citizens want, and then be reactive as to the information that's gathered. So I believe we did 2 emails and phone calls out to all stakeholders if we didn't get a response. So.
Sorry, I don't have to raise my hand. One of the things that I know has been brought up in the past, and Brendan's not here, but he had said, is there something we as committee members can do? Is there a list you can give us of people that we might be able to reach out to with these different organizations? And I don't want Kim and Kelly being like, come on, Krista, I already have enough to do. But if there is something, we might be able to help you if there's some organizations that we're still missing, even if it's posts us saying, hey, is your organization still looking to have their say on our rec master plan? This is who you need to reach out to be able to have your say. Or if there's a couple of lists and you want us to break them up and we each kind of reach out to 2 or 3 people in an effort to get those last people drawn in and engaged for this program. I think most of us, and you can all speak for yourselves, would be happy to help support that in some way. We are looking for ways that we can be active and helpful within this committee. So please, staff, let us know if there's something else we can do. And I just wanted to say, I thought that was a great at-home solution for our lifeguards. Most, if not all of our lifeguards are local, and they are Southwest Middlesex residents. And if they can't get the training that they need to be able to do their jobs, that's a struggle in its own. And it maybe is an opportunity for our programs coordinators in the future, kind of thing, to be able to have that type of local made at-home solutions. I know that with Elm, we're also struggling to be able to get police checks and some registrations done because those organizations are not currently offering all of their programming. So I think that is, sorry, Greg, you've got another question.
Well, yeah, through you, Krista. I just thought Todd may be able to jump in here and give us a little bit of perspective on sort of when we can sort of, you know, if we missed anybody, how we can bring those people back into the process as far as input goes.
Yes, if you'll allow me to speak on that. So we did have a number of focus groups and had good turnout, but certainly not everyone participated. So what we typically do is, as we get into the needs analysis, which is the next phase of the project, where we're missing information. So if we haven't, I'll just make up a group. If we haven't talked to soccer, we will likely give them a call so that we can get a good handle on what's going on in soccer. So if there's groups that have been missed, we will likely reach out to many of those. However, if there are many groups, and we're not aware that it's a lot, but if there are some, we could always forward them the questions that we asked in the focus group as a follow-up. So, you know, we can talk to Greg and Alex about that to see if, you know, if we can forward a list of questions onto those groups that couldn't attend for one reason or another. And certainly when the draft plan is prepared, we'll have an open house. It might be a virtual open house, but an opportunity for people to come out, and certainly all of the groups will be invited to attend that as well, so that we can gain their input and feedback on the draft recommendation. So this isn't over. We're still in the early stages, and we're looking for as much feedback as we can. And just as Alex said, we're excited to hear from as many people as possible, because this ultimately is your plan, and we want to make sure that you and the community support it.
Thank you. And Alex, I think you've waited patiently, so please go ahead.
Just one more quick item to add. We do have a tool in place. Before this process kind of really took off, we created an email account. It's I got to spell it out here. I feel so silly. RF Recreation Facility Master. rfmp@southwestmiddlesex.com. That's a general email inbox that's monitored on a day-to-day basis. And the purpose was for community outreach, for user groups to bring forward whatever kind of input they wanted to.
Thank you for that. Okay, so I'm not sure if we've already covered this, but there's one more point, the facilities and recreation supervisor update, although we may have already touched on much of that. So if there's anything else that needs to be added, please see.
I don't have much beyond what I've already shared. Yeah, beyond that, like I said, we have some new staff starting, and my staff have been excellent. They've responded, they've been adaptive, they've been willing to try all new tasks. They're open to just doing a good job day in and day out. So I have to put kudos forward to my staff that execute the plans that we put together on a day-to-day basis.
Great. So moving forward, we'll go on to item number 8, and that is comments and inquiries. So do I have any comments or inquiries from those that haven't had an opportunity to speak to something or would like to bring something forward? Seeing nothing. Notice of future meetings. So our next meeting will be September 20th at 5 p.m. So that stays consistent with Mondays, and I suspect we'll still be online. Does that work with everyone? I think it's online, it usually works. And then as well, Monday, December 6th. And come ready in September for any of your budget requests. Okay, so if there's nothing else that anyone would like to discuss or bring up, I will adjourn the meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Welcome, Ash.